What came first, the queen or the egg? We'll start with the eggs, or ovomorphs as they're known. Ovomorphs feature prominently throughout the entire franchise. They are the very first organic alien life that we see on the derelict on LV-426 in Ridley Scott's Alien, and we've learned more about them in the first season of Alien Earth. Ovomorph is the first phase for almost all of the variants in this deep dive. The life cycle commences with the ovum, deposited by the queen. These structures are leathery pods approximately 18 inches in height. Although they may appear passive with thickened, weathered exteriors, they are in fact highly responsive to external stimuli. In Alien, we first see this phenomenon when Kane approaches an egg within the derelict vessel. Upon detecting an organic life form nearby, the top of the pod opens out, enabling the larval form to emerge. We see more of the eggs in Aliens, 1986, where the atmospheric processor hive demonstrates oviposition, laying eggs, on a massive scale. In that film, the queen is directly observed depositing eggs, which then serve as both a defensive measure and a means of growing the hive. Canonical sources, including Aliens Earth War, also suggest that queens may actively manipulate eggs to accelerate facehugger deployment in response to threats. The eggs can simultaneously ensure hive defense and the continuation of the species through host implantation. Sucklings, infants. Every Yautja begins life as a suckling, fully dependent on their mother and clan. These infants spend their earliest years in protective nesting grounds, learning not through direct combat but by observation. As glimpsed in Predator Homeworld, 1999, they watch older hunters clean, maintain, and respect the weapons that will one day be theirs. Play fights between sucklings are common, serving as both exercise and early training in reflexes, coordination, and predatory instincts. Sucklings are taught the fundamentals of the hunt from day one: tracking, camouflage, and silent movement, even if only in simulation. Their mothers and elder hunters instill the first lessons of the honor code, teaching respect for fellow Yautja and prey alike. In some stories, the bonding between mother and suckling is so strong that the infant will refuse to leave her side until a certain ritualized age is reached, often marked by a minor trial within the nesting grounds. A quiet precursor to the structured blooding rituals later seen in Aliens vs. Predator, 2010, where the Yautja's lifelong training and discipline reach their first true test. The Facehugger represents the Xenomorph's parasitic implantation stage, responsible for the transmission of the embryonic organism into a host body. Like a huge spider with a tail, it is pale in color. The Facehugger possesses multiple finger-like appendages as well as a long tail structure used for anchoring and propulsion. Upon emergence from the ovum, the Facehugger immediately seeks a host, using chemosensory mechanisms rather than sight to locate warm-blooded organisms. In Alien, the Nostromo crew make detailed anatomical observations while examining Kane's attacker. Ash notes the adhesive pads on the ventral surface, remarking, "Look at those suckers, no wonder we couldn't get it off him." These powerful pads are believed to be capable of producing contusions on the head and face of the host. The organism also has a flexible proboscis, which it inserts into the oral or nasal cavity. The facehugger uses this structure to supply oxygen, along with a mixture of enzymes and embryonic tissue, initiating the host's transformation. Keeping the host viable during this process is critical. Respiration is mechanically regulated by the facehugger itself, ensuring the host remains alive until implantation is complete. Once the embryo has been successfully deposited, the organism releases its hold and rapidly degenerates and dies, having served its biological purpose. This behavior is confirmed in Aliens, where multiple facehuggers are seen in controlled lab conditions. Alien Earth builds out the biology of these creepy creatures further. The Kirsch character is seen dissecting the facehugger in a homage to Alien, but the detail is even greater, with Kirsch walking away with the embryonic version of the Xenomorph, shaped like a tadpole, before it latches onto CJ Hermit's surgically removed lung. We'll keep a close eye on how things progress from here in Alien Earth. What do you think is the most amazing part of the life cycle? Comment below and let us know. Unblooded youths. Once a Yautja reaches juvenile maturity, they become an unblooded youth, essentially an apprentice hunter who has yet to claim a dangerous kill. These young hunters train in groups under the supervision of experienced mentors, practicing with basic plasma casters, wrist blades, and simulated prey, much like the early training sequences described in Aliens vs. Predator Prey, where reckless young hunters struggle to earn their first true trophies. Unblooded youths are taught strategy, ambush tactics, and trap setting in controlled hunts. They are brash, energetic, and prone to recklessness, a trait tolerated because the mentor's no experience is the ultimate teacher. These youths often face tests against artificially enhanced prey or in ritual combat scenarios to instill caution, patience, and ingenuity. This kind of simulated trial training is echoed in the opening Predator campaign of Aliens vs. Predator 2010, where the blooding rite is prepared through immersive training arenas. The honor of the clan is paramount. Unblooded youths are forbidden from challenging higher-ranking predators or hunting dangerous creatures unsupervised. In some comic arcs, particularly Prey, unblooded youths undergo shadow hunts, secretly following seasoned predators to learn lessons in humility and observation, skills that cannot be taught in practice simulations alone. Warrior Xenomorph. A warrior, sometimes called a drone, is the classic xenomorph seen throughout the entire franchise. In Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979, a single warrior slaughtered nearly the entire crew of the Nostromo before Ripley ejected it into space. In James Cameron's Aliens, 1986, dozens overran the Hadley's Hope colony on the same moon, forcing Ripley and the Marines into a desperate fight. Warriors also appear in Alien 3, a runner variant, in Alien Resurrection, and in countless expanded universe comics and novels. Physically, a warrior stands around 7 to 8 feet tall, with a sleek black exoskeleton resembling both metal and insect shell. Its elongated skull may be smooth or ridged, and inside its jaws lies a secondary inner mouth lined with sharp teeth that strike forward with lethal force. The creature's limbs are long and clawed, and its segmented tail, up to 6 feet in length, ends in a razor-sharp blade. Warriors wield several natural weapons. Their blood is a highly corrosive acid, burning through nearly any material, making injuring them dangerous. They are powerful enough to smash through steel doors, agile enough to run across walls and ceilings, and can spit acid to blind or dissolve targets. Despite lacking eyes, they navigate with some combination of echolocation, electroreception, pheromone tracking, and heightened smell, hearing, and thermal perception. Warriors also secrete resin to build nests and cocoon prey, often operating collectively under the will of their queen. Still, they are not invincible. Fire and extreme heat can drive them back, heavy weapons can kill them with precise hits, and electricity can stun or wound them, as seen in recent entries Romulus and Alien Earth. Their instincts make them predictable, leaving them vulnerable to traps and ambushes. And like all xenomorphs, in their earlier stages, eggs and chestbursters, they are more fragile and more vulnerable than as adults. Warriors emerge from the standard alien life cycle. A queen lays eggs, which release spider-like facehuggers. The facehugger implants an embryo into a living host, which later erupts violently as a chestburster. Within hours, this larva matures into a full-grown warrior. The xenomorph genome also adapts to each host, inheriting useful traits, explaining the wide variety of alien forms across different environments. Though many variations exist, the warrior remains the iconic template of the species. A young blood marks the first stage of true independence in the hunt. These predators have graduated from apprenticeship, but must now prove themselves in the field against lethal prey. Xenomorphs are the classic trial given their ferocity and adaptability, but other dangerous species are also acceptable targets. The Aliens vs. Predator, 2004 film highlights the peril of this stage. 2 of 3 young bloods sent to Earth perished before completing their first hunt. The surviving young blood performs the blooding ritual, claiming their first trophy and officially ascending to the rank of blooded warrior. This moment is sacred, often accompanied by clan ceremonies and acidic markings on the young blood's mask or forehead. During this phase, predators learn firsthand that cunning, patience, and respect for prey outweigh brute strength. A young blood may experience psychological trauma during failed hunts, a rite of passage that separates the truly capable from the reckless. Some young bloods develop early specialties, tracking, ambush tactics, or dual wielding, which shape their future roles in the clan. Runner Xenomorph. A runner, also known as a dog or quadruped alien, is a xenomorph variant born from a 4-legged host. The first and only major example appears in David Fincher's Alien 3, 1992, when a facehugger impregnates a dog, an ox in the film's director's cut. The resulting creature stalks the inmates and survivors of the Sulaco crash on Fiorina 161, ultimately being destroyed when Ripley traps it in the prison's leadworks and douses it with molten metal before freezing it solid. This remains the runner's only major storyline in the films. Physically, the runner resembles a smaller, more streamlined warrior, but adapted for quadrupedal movement. Its body is muscular and lean, built for speed, with powerful hind legs that allow it to sprint and leap great distances. Unlike human-born xenomorphs, it lacks the large dorsal tubes along its back, giving it a smoother, more animalistic silhouette. Any heightened senses inherited from its canine host make it a fast and deadly close-range hunter. Despite its agility, the runner is lighter and less durable than a queen or full-grown warrior. The Fiorina 161 specimen operated alone without hive support, behaving more like a lone predator than part of a collective. Like all xenomorphs, it was still vulnerable to fire, extreme heat, and other heavy damage. The runner follows the same life cycle as any other alien: egg, facehugger, host, chestburster, and adult. But the form it takes is shaped by its host. In this case, the quadrupedal body plan and speed of a dog were carried into the adult stage. The runner is not a separate species, but rather a striking example of how xenomorph DNA can adapt in a single generation, incorporating traits of whatever creature it emerges from. Blooded warriors. After a successful first hunt, a young blood becomes a blooded warrior. This rank is earned through skill, courage, and adherence to the code of honor. As seen in Aliens vs. Predator, 2004, this transformation is marked physically with the clan symbol etched in the acidic blood of a slain xenomorph, a permanent testament to prowess and survival. Blooded warriors gain full privileges, independent hunting rights, the ability to select their prey, and the authority to collect trophies that signify personal achievement. In the classic Aliens vs. Predator Prey comic and novel, this stage also marks the first point at which a predator may mentor others, with seasoned blooded hunters guiding new initiates through the moral and tactical code of the clan. Cultural expectations for blooded warriors are strict. Honor dictates behavior. Indiscriminate killing, hunting defenseless prey, or violating rituals can result in censure or even exile. Blooded warriors form the backbone of predator society, their actions reflecting the strength and values of the clan. This phase is where individuality begins to shine. Hunters cultivate signature fighting styles remembered in clan lore for centuries, a tradition echoed in the Aliens vs. Predator 2010 game, where the Predator Dark completes his own blooding and ascends as a fully recognized warrior. Newborn. In Alien Resurrection, a cloned queen mutated by Ripley's DNA gives birth to the newborn on the USM Auriga. The creature imprints on Ripley 8, kills the queen and Getaman, and is ultimately ejected via decompression when Ripley uses her acidic blood to melt a window aboard the Betty. The film version lacks an inner jaw and tail, and, beyond tie-in mentions, this is its only on-screen appearance. The newborn looks both familiar and grotesque. It has pale skin and a human-like face, with big round eyes and even a small nose. Its humanoid body stands somewhere around 7 to 8 feet tall. The newborn's gestation is unusually rapid. It likely shares the acid blood of other xenomorphs, though the film does not show this, so is unconfirmed. It seemingly does not have the ability to lay eggs, and it does not display hive behavior. It is essentially a biological accident. Being partly human, the newborn has some human weaknesses. It likely breathes air. Uniquely, the newborn appears to have human emotions, crying when it kills, and smiling at one point, as well as almost human intelligence and cunning, which is displayed when it deliberately attacks the person Ripley loves most, Call, played by Winona Ryder. Elite Predators. Elite Predators are seasoned hunters who have demonstrated mastery over the hunt. Highly skilled, cunning, and often feared, they undertake the most dangerous assignments and mentor younger hunters. In Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, Wolf serves as an exemplary elite predator, containing the xenomorph outbreak on Earth while exhibiting strategic foresight and battlefield awareness far beyond that of younger hunters. Elites often specialize in interstellar missions, tracking and eliminating threats across multiple planets. They wield the most advanced weapons and may customize their gear, adapting it for stealth, long-range kills, or direct confrontation. Elite predators embody the perfect balance of strength, intelligence, and honor, traits that define the Yautja at their peak. Next up, we have the Deacon. The Deacon is a creature introduced in Prometheus, 2012. Though never referred to as a xenomorph, it is clearly connected to the same lineage. In the film's final moments, it bursts from the dead engineer in the lifeboat, already grown to full size. It delivers a brief, violent attack before menacingly advancing toward the camera, but its story ends there. Beyond behind-the-scenes references, the Deacon does not reappear in later films, though it is referenced in the Dark Horse Fire and Stone comics. Visually, the Deacon is a dark, bluish-black creature with a lean, skeletal frame and sharp spines. It walks upright on two legs with elongated arms tipped by claws, and like the xenomorph, it wields an inner jaw for killing. Its most distinctive feature is its elongated, sharply pointed head, resembling a bishop's mitre, which gives the creature its name. Unlike the classic alien, it seemingly has no tail, and its reptilian profile makes it appear more primitive. It is born in a neonate and bypasses some of the vulnerable earlier stages typical of other aliens. Its skull-like head also serves a grisly function, slicing its way out of its host's body during birth. The Deacon is the result of the black goo pathogen unleashed on LV-223. After Charlie Holloway is infected, he passes the mutagen to Elizabeth Shaw, leading her to surgically remove a rapidly growing parasite from her womb. This trilobite, a massive squid-like facehugger, later attaches itself to an engineer. The Deacon is born from that union, bypassing the usual queen-based reproductive cycle. Narratively, the Deacon serves as an early branch of alien evolution, bridging the gap between the engineer experiments on LV-223 and the xenomorph forms seen later. Its design foreshadows David's later creations, but it stands as a singular example of how the black pathogen could generate alien-like life long before the classic xenomorph emerged. Elder Predators. Elders are revered figures, often centuries old, who embody the accumulated wisdom of countless hunts. Their role extends beyond combat. They uphold traditions, judge hunts, and offer guidance to both warriors and young bloods. Elders may observe hunts as impartial judges, determining whether a kill adheres to the honor code. They may also bestow ceremonial rewards or enact rites of passage. Predator 2 and Aliens vs. Predator 2004 depict elders in advisory roles, guiding younger hunters without necessarily participating in combat. Their wisdom shapes the clan's ethics, hunting strategies, and interstellar diplomacy. Neomorph. Neomorphs are a variant of the alien species introduced in Alien Covenant, 2017. Early in the film, two emerge from infected crew members. One erupts through a man's throat, while another bursts free from a soldier's back. Later, after spores infect colonists, a fully grown neomorph, nicknamed a primo by fans, attacks the survivors until the crew escapes. Their appearances are limited to Covenant. They do not return elsewhere in the series. A newborn neomorph is pale and ghostly, with translucent skin, a smooth, elongated head, and no dorsal tubes. Its thin, animal-like body often moves on all fours, with spindly limbs. Blood, spores, or fungal stains sometimes mark their skin, enhancing their eerie look. Despite their frail build, they retain the inner jaw and barbed tail of a xenomorph. Uniquely, they erupt from hosts in unpredictable ways, through chest, throat, back, or even mouth, causing catastrophic injuries. Though related to xenomorphs, neomorphs differ in key ways. Their blood is non-acidic and yellow. They are fast, agile, and feral, crouching low and striking with dagger-like claws and teeth. Their pale coloring also helps them blend into bright or daylight environments. In combat, neomorphs are vicious, but perhaps more fragile compared to warriors. Neomorphs originate from the black goo pathogen created by the engineers and weaponized by David. On Planet 4, the mutagen evolved into a spore-producing fungus. When inhaled or entering wounds, the spores rapidly gestate, producing embryos that burst from their hosts after violent symptoms. Because they come directly from the pathogen, not facehuggers or ovomorphs, they form a separate branch of alien evolution. In the timeline, neomorphs represent an early stage of the species. In the novelization of Covenant, one even fights a protomorph and is defeated. Their story ends there. They do not appear in Alien Romulus or beyond. Clan leaders, chieftains. Clan leaders wield both authority and responsibility. They enforce the honor code, direct major hunts, and manage internal clan affairs. As shown in Predator the Preserve, Marvel Comics, leadership may be held by elders or exceptionally respected warriors, and it is not strictly gendered. Female chieftains such as Hashori in the expanded universe prove that authority depends on skill, honor, and experience rather than lineage. Ceremonial attire and armor distinguish chieftains, often incorporating trophies from legendary hunts, a detail reflected across multiple Aliens vs. Predator comics and lore entries. They arbitrate disputes, resolve breaches of code, and oversee interclan interactions. A leader's judgment can determine not only an individual hunter's fate, but the survival and reputation of the entire clan. Protomorph. Sometimes called the Protomorph, this is the alien engineered by David in Alien Covenant 2104, using the black goo pathogen. This is David's prototype, if you will. After the neomorphs decimate much of the crew, this new form emerges on Planet 4 and hunts the survivors. Later, two of them board the Covenant, killing colonists in the cargo bay until they are both themselves dispatched. Its arc ends there, as David later pursues a more perfected version of the species. In the Alien Universe timeline, the Protomorph is the first alien to strongly resemble the classic Xenomorph. It stands tall and black with an elongated head, inner jaw, claws, and barbed tail. Unlike later forms, its body is raw and sinewy, with exposed muscle instead of smooth armor. Larger and stronger than a neomorph, it moves on two legs or all fours, striking with feral intensity. Its acid blood, inner jaws, and raw power make it highly lethal. The protomorph shows extraordinary resilience. In Covenant, it kills engineers and soldiers alike, survives heavy gunfire, and keeps fighting even after severe injuries. Ancients. Ancient predators are survivors of centuries, often operating outside conventional clan hierarchies. These legendary hunters carry unique trophies, having confronted prey that may no longer exist in current timelines. The comic Predator homeworld showcases such figures, whose accumulated knowledge makes them formidable in combat and invaluable as historians of Yautja culture. Ancients are often solitary, engaging with clans only for extraordinary hunts or ceremonies. They embody the species' evolutionary development, a living link between the primitive hunters of millennia past and modern Yautja society. Now we move on to the Offspring. The Offspring is a unique alien-human hybrid introduced in Alien Romulus, 2024. Born in August 2142 aboard the Renaissance space station. The hybrid results when the pregnant K is dosed with Z01, a gene rewriting fluid derived from Facehugger or Xeno research tied to the recovered Nostromo alien. That mutates her fetus. It's then born and rapidly grows. It kills its mother K moments after hatching, then disables Andy before hunting the protagonist, Rain. In a final encounter, Rain defeats it, ejecting it into LV-410's rings. The offspring looks unlike other xenomorphs. Probably around 8 feet tall, it has dull pink-gray skin instead of a hard black shell, a humanoid frame with bony ridges, and a long tail. Its most disturbing feature is its face, human-like eyes, nose, and toothed secondary mouth. This blend of features makes it resemble a grotesque human-xenomorph hybrid. The creature is strong and agile, attacking with claws, teeth, tail, and inner jaw. It walks with a human-like gait and shows flashes of emotion. The offspring combines alien ferocity with human cunning. Predator King, Mythic Apex. At the pinnacle of Yautja hierarchy lies the mythical Predator King, a figure said to command multiple clans across worlds. Rarely encountered, these rulers may have consorts, predator queens or princes, in expanded universe lore. While this concept has remained largely speculative, the movie Predator Killer of Killers, 2025, introduced the Grendel King, a modern interpretation of royal Yautja leadership that blends myth with military authority. The Predator King embodies ultimate strength, honor, and dominion over the hunt. Though seldom seen in mainstream canon, comics and novels have long portrayed such figures as the supreme arbiters of the honor code, beings whose influence shapes culture, politics, and interstellar law. From the Grand Elders referenced in older Dark Horse lore to the modern reinterpretations emerging in new media, the idea of a Predator King endures as a symbol of absolute mastery within Yautja civilization. Queen Xenomorph. A queen is the massive mother of the alien hive, most famously seen in Aliens on LV-426's Hadley's Hope Colony. In that film, Ripley defeated her by ejecting her into space from aboard the Sulaco with the help of a loader suit. Another queen appears in Alien Resurrection, 2379, after scientists accidentally clone one aboard the USM Auriga. In Alien vs. Predator, 2004, a queen is discovered in an Antarctic pyramid battling predators. Tie-in stories also feature queens on Earth and other outposts, but in every version she is the hive's mother and the ultimate foe. Standing around 4.5 meters or 15 feet in height, the queen dwarfs a warrior. She has an insect-like body with 4 arms, 2 large, 2 smaller, and a wide crown-like head crest. Some queens also have high heel-like protrusions on their feet and all possess a huge ovipositor for egg-laying. Attached to her abdomen, it allows her to produce thousands of eggs, rapidly spawning new colonies. Queens are immensely powerful, able to tear through machinery and even to lift Ripley in her power loader at the end of Aliens. Their carapace is extremely tough, and they can direct the entire hive, making any attack on them a fight against the swarm. Despite this, their size makes them slower and less agile than smaller aliens. Fire, explosives, or confinement can kill or neutralize them, though it usually requires heavy effort, as seen when Ripley combined flame and machinery to finish one off. Each hive usually has only one queen, born through the same cycle as other aliens but with a special facehugger or egg. In Aliens, she presumably emerged from a colonist. In Resurrection, Ripley is cloned and the queen embryo is surgically removed from her. While queens don't evolve much, their size and appearance can vary. The Antarctic queen in AVP was nearly 6 meters or 20 feet tall with a sleeker design, while others show darker or lighter carapaces. Now let's move beyond the mainstream Yautja tradition with outcasts, variants, and hybrid Yautja. Not every Yautja fits neatly into the hierarchical ranks of honor. Some break the code outright, some follow alternative customs, and others are the products of cross-species experimentation. These outliers illuminate the diversity, complexity, and occasional brutality of predator society. Bad Bloods, criminal outcasts. These are the most notorious outcasts among Yautja. These are hunters who betray the honor code, attacking clanmates, innocent prey, or failing to respect the sacred rules of engagement. Exile is the typical fate of a bad blood. Some are hunted relentlessly by their former clans, while others are left to wander across worlds, accumulating infamy. In Predator Bad Blood, Dark Horse Comics, a rogue predator wreaks havoc on Earth, killing indiscriminately and prompting an enforcer to track him down. His actions show how a single dishonored hunter can disrupt interstellar order and bring shame to their lineage. Bad Bloods often display extreme cunning and brutality, combining feral instincts with learned tactics. They are sometimes considered the ultimate challenge for honorable predators. Defeating a Bad Blood requires not just strength, but strategic precision, moral clarity, and patience. Now we're moving back to the xenomorphs covered in other areas of the Aliens franchise, the video games, comics, and novelizations. Praetorian. The Praetorian, also called the Royal Guard, Queen's Guard, or Palace Xenomorph, is one of the most formidable castes in the hive. Originating from Unused Aliens 1986 concept art, the design found its place in expanded media, appearing in games such as Aliens Extinction 2003, Colonial Marines 2013, and Fireteam Elite 2021. In canon, it is typically ranked as a Tier 3 caste, though earlier sources placed it lower. Praetorians are enormous mutations of standard drones or warriors, standing nearly 10 feet tall. Their defining feature is a crown-like head crest resembling a smaller queen. Heavily plated exoskeletons, especially around the head and torso, make them highly resistant to small arms fire. Only explosives or high-caliber armor-piercing rounds can reliably pierce their defenses. On the battlefield, Praetorians are melee juggernauts. They charge with reinforced skulls to break barricades and smash through defenses, while their claws and tail strikes inflict devastating wounds. Although early sources credited them with spitting acid, modern canon does not support this. They also display limited command instincts, often guarding queens or leading hive assaults. Their weaknesses stem from their size and armor. Slower than other xenomorphs, they can be outmaneuvered, and their few exposed areas, the dorsal region and behind the crest, remain vulnerable. Praetorians emerge from standard hosts, but require special hive conditions, often linked to a queen, to molt. Sterile by nature, some sources suggest they may evolve into queens if one is lost, though this remains disputed. Within the hive, Praetorians represent the pinnacle of brute force, elite guardians bred for war. Enforcers, honorable justice. Where there are bad bloods, there are enforcers, predators who embody the law and moral authority of their kind. Enforcers are elite hunters entrusted with locating and eliminating dishonored members, acting as judge, jury, and executioner. Enforcers exemplify the ultimate balance of honor and lethality. In Predator Bad Blood, an enforcer risks its life to pursue a rogue hunter, ultimately paying the price in combat. Similarly, the cleaner Predator in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem performs a similar role, neutralizing xenomorph infestations and ensuring that dishonorable hunters do not violate the code. Their equipment and tactics are specialized for this purpose. Enforcers may wield enhanced weaponry, rely on advanced tracking technology, and employ stealth techniques honed over centuries. But their greatest weapon is not their gear, but their reputation. A disciplined and honorable predator, feared and respected across the galaxy, whose mere presence can deter dishonorable acts. Crusher. The Crusher, also called the Charger or Bull Alien, is a quadrupedal xenomorph introduced in Aliens Colonial Marines 2013 and later featured in Aliens Fireteam Elite 2021. Classified as a Tier 3 caste, it functions as one of the hive's heaviest assault organisms. Built like a living tank, the Crusher has a low-slung body and moves on all fours. Its defining feature is a massive flat head crest of dense armor plating, giving it a bull-like silhouette. This shield-like skull absorbs firepower that would easily destroy other xenomorphs. The creature's signature ability is its armored charge. Sprinting headfirst, it can smash through barricades, knock marines sprawling, and even dent armored vehicles. At close range, it uses its sheer mass to trample or body slam enemies. However, its attacks are linear. Crushers rush straight ahead and require time to turn, making them predictable in open combat. Its defenses are concentrated at the front. Flanks and hindquarters remain weak points, forcing squads to coordinate. One marine drawing the charge while others strike its exposed sides. Explosives or heavy fire are the most effective counter. Though some speculate bovine DNA due to its bull-like form, canon treats the Crusher as a specialized warrior mutation. Designed as the hive's battering ram, it exemplifies brute strength and unstoppable momentum. Berserkers, the Super Predator clan. The Super Predators, also called Berserkers, represent a cultural divergence within Yautja society. Introduced in Predators 2010, these larger, more aggressive hunters follow their own code or disregard it entirely. They often abduct prey for sport, favor brutal combat over ritualized hunts, and view traditional Yautja as inferior. Berserkers are physically imposing, taller, bulkier, and equipped with elongated fangs, serrated weaponry, and tribalistic masks. Unlike classic Yautja, they prioritize intimidation and raw force over ceremonial precision. Their hunting style is ruthless, their tactics experimental, and their loyalty to clans often tenuous. Berserkers challenge the established hierarchy. Their existence is proof that even among a species defined by honor, radical factions do arise. These hunters may operate in isolated enclaves, engage in interclan conflict, or dominate worlds without adhering to traditional codes. They remind us that predator society is not static. Survival can favor those willing to break conventions. Prowler. The Prowler, sometimes called the Stalker or Lurker, is a lithe, quadrupedal xenomorph introduced in Aliens Fireteam Elite, 2021. Classified as a Tier 3 caste, it fills the Hive's role of ambusher and assassin. Physically, the Prowler resembles the Alien 3 runner but with a distinctive reddish carapace and sinewy animal-like limbs. Its movement recalls a panther, often attributed to origins in quadrupedal hosts such as cats or dogs. This build gives it both speed and stealth, making it a predator specialized for ambush. The Prowler excels at lurking motionless in shadows or clinging to walls, waiting for prey to draw near. Its red-tinged armor helps it blend into rusted industrial environments. Once in range, it springs with a powerful leap, pinning targets to the ground and slashing with claws. In firefights, Prowlers stalk the edges, using other xenomorphs as distractions before closing in unseen. Their weakness lies in fragility. They can endure slightly more damage than runners but far less than warriors, relying on stealth and surprise to compensate. Motion trackers often miss them, forcing Marines to sweep ceilings and corners with lights. Created specifically for Fireteam Elite, the Prowler has no film counterpart but fits neatly into Hive ecology as a mid-tier predator. Cold Iron Studios emphasized its stealth-driven behavior and red highlights to make it both visually distinctive and terrifying when encountered in-game. Historical and alternate Yautja. Proto-predator. Ancient ancestry. Yautja history hints at primitive predecessors known as proto-predators. These ancestral hunters may have existed long before the species evolved into the technologically advanced warriors seen today. In Predator Homeworld, human scientist Dr. Maya Bergstrom speculated that early predator-like creatures might have evolved on Earth, perhaps resembling therapsid, mammal-like reptilian forms. According to her theory, these creatures were later transported to Yautja Prime by an unknown force. These proto-predators were likely feral hunters, relying on natural weapons, primal intelligence, and instinct rather than advanced technology. Later encounters with ancient or unusually old Yautja, such as the playable Ancient in Aliens vs. Predator 2 Primal Hunt, suggest vestiges of this primal heritage: massive claws, primitive hunting methods, and a raw, instinct-driven behavior. The proto-predator serves as an evolutionary bridge between the earliest hunters and the spacefaring Yautja. Spitter and Burster. The Spitter and Burster are Tier 3 xenomorph variants introduced in Aliens Colonial Marines, 2013, and refined in Aliens Fireteam Elite, 2021. Both forms expand the Hive's arsenal with ranged and suicide tactics rarely seen in traditional castes. Spitters resemble sleeker warriors, often marked by a green acidic tint around the mouth. Specialized throat sacs allow them to launch globules of molecular acid across mid-range distances with surprising accuracy. These projectiles burn on impact and leave lingering pools of acid, creating area denial hazards that flush Marines out of cover. Spitters prefer to fight from ledges or behind obstacles, firing in arcs before ducking back to safety. Bursters, by contrast, are swollen runner-type xenomorphs with blistered, veined carapaces. Designed as living bombs, they charge headlong into enemies and detonate when shot or in close proximity, showering the area with acid. Their explosions leave dangerous pools that corrode armor and punish careless players. Fragile by nature, they die quickly, but their death is the weapon itself. Neither caste reproduces independently, both likely arise through mutation or environmental influence, with irradiated spitters referenced in tie-in lore. Though absent from the films, their mechanics echo long-standing ideas of acid-spitting xenos. Created to diversify combat, spitters force players into motion, while bursters represent a sacrificial extreme within xenomorph society, an explosive extension of the alien hive mind. We're moving on to some lab mutations and corporate experiments. Hish-Qu-Ten, the others. In some Dark Horse novels, the Hish-Qu-Ten are introduced as an alternate Yautja subspecies. Also known as the people who take territory, they differ significantly from traditional Yautja in biology and culture. Hish-Qu-Ten are taller, around 8 feet, cold-blooded and hermaphroditic, capable of switching sexes throughout life. This biological flexibility alters social structures. Breeding is dynamic and gender roles are fluid. Hish possess a specialized kill gland that releases rage-inducing hormones, driving them into berserker fury. While medicines can regulate these glands, unscrupulous individuals have used them to manipulate enemies or rival clan members. Hish-Qu-Ten prioritize survival and aggression over honor. They employ deception, remote weapons, and proxy fighters to achieve objectives, actions considered dishonorable by classic Yautja standards. Some theories suggest they are either an ancestral branch of the species or a divergent evolutionary offshoot. Predator hunting grounds hints at this. Hish might have been early predators who eventually adopted the honor-based culture of modern Yautja. Regardless, the Hish-Qu-Ten underscore that predator society has always been adaptable. Monica. Monica, also known as test subject number 3, is a mutated xenomorph drone created through Weyland-Yutani experimentation with the black goo pathogen. First appearing in Aliens, Infiltrator, 2021, and later in Aliens, Fireteam Elite, Monica represents one of the most infamous corporate lab mutations in modern canon. Physically, Monica was larger and sturdier than a normal drone, with a dark, leathery exoskeleton streaked with gray and a rough, scarred surface rather than a glossy dome. Enhanced musculature allowed her to absorb heavy gunfire and endure punishment that would kill ordinary xenomorphs. Born from human host Monica Enright on Palestation, both host and embryo were exposed to the pathogen during gestation, resulting in an aberrant adult form with a heightened aggression. In combat, Monica acted as a relentless stalker. She targeted Dr. Timothy Honecker specifically, pursuing him across Katanga Station with near-slasher persistence. Lacking ranged attacks, she relied on speed, strength, and overwhelming tenacity, rushing through fire where other xenomorphs would retreat. Some logs even suggest minor regenerative abilities. Despite her ferocity, Monica's instability was also her weakness. Sustained heavy fire eventually brought her down, her reckless charges leaving her exposed. In-game, Marines face her repeatedly before finally defeating her in a last stand. Created as a narrative bridge between novel and game, Monica stands as the first canon black goo-mutated xenomorph, an experiment gone wrong, and a chilling reminder of Weyland-Yutani's obsession with weaponizing the species. Alpha Predator, Kyle, First Hunter. One of the most revered figures in predator folklore is Kyle, often called the Alpha Predator or First Hunter. His story merges elements of the Hish legend with early Yautja history, creating a myth that explains both technological advancement and the cultural evolution of the species. First introduced through the NECA Alpha Predator figure and later expanded in Predator Hunting Grounds, Kyle's tale redefined the origins of Yautja civilization within official extended lore. According to this account, the Hish-Qu-Ten were once enslaved by the insectoid Amengi, forced to fight as gladiators and laborers while their natural hunting instincts were exploited for amusement. Kyle rose as a leader among his kind, rallying the enslaved hunters in a rebellion that overthrew their masters. Following the victory, the predators commandeered Amengi technology, adapting it into the weapons, armor, and spacecraft that became the foundation of modern Yautja civilization. Kyle is celebrated as an honor-bound hunter who transformed a brutal struggle for freedom into a codified way of life. 7. 7, also called Specimen 7 or the albino drone, is a unique black goo-mutated xenomorph first introduced in the novel Aliens Infiltrator, 2021. Though not appearing directly in Fireteam Elite, 7's existence is referenced in in-game lore, securing its place in the current continuity. Physically, 7 resembled a larger-than-average drone, standing nearly 7 feet 10 inches tall, but with a striking albino exoskeleton, white, semi-translucent, and ghost-like. Its dome was partially transparent, giving it an unsettling presence, though it lacked special armor or physical traits beyond its coloration. What made 7 extraordinary was its quasi-queen ability to influence other xenomorphs. Through unknown means, possibly pheromonal or telepathic, it coordinated fellow captives, even directing them to simultaneously spit acid to breach containment. 7's intelligence exceeded that of a normal drone, capable of organizing ambushes, cutting power, and directing captured hosts to existing eggs, effectively acting as a surrogate queen. Observers, including Dr. Honecker, reported a buzzing in their minds when near it, suggesting psychic influence. Despite its cunning, 7 was not invincible. Its command extended only to small groups, and physically it could be killed like any other drone. It ultimately fell in a blaze of fire during a showdown with Security Chief Gabriel Cruz, whose sacrifice ended 7's control over the hive. 7 stands as the first canon albino xenomorph and a chilling example of pathogen experimentation, pushing the species into near hive-mind evolution. Hybrids and mutations. The Yautja are a species obsessed with perfection in the hunt, genetic prowess, and the refinement of combat. Yet even among the most disciplined hunters, deviations occur. Predalien Yautja cross Xenomorph. Perhaps the most infamous hybrid is the Predalien, a horrifying fusion of Xenomorph and Yautja biology. Born when a Xenomorph chestburster gestates inside a Yautja host, the Predalien inherits traits from both species. The biomechanical exoskeleton and acidic blood of a Xenomorph, combined with the mandibles, dreadlocks, and physical robustness of a predator. It features prominently in Aliens vs. Predator Requiem, 2007. The Predalien demonstrates terrifying strength, agility, and intelligence. Unlike a standard xenomorph, it sometimes exhibits predator-like behaviors, such as collecting trophies or showing a rudimentary sense of honor. Its hunting style blends feral instincts with calculated aggression, making it one of the most dangerous adversaries a Yautja could face. Predaliens are considered the ultimate prey within Yautja society. Killing one requires skill, strategy, and courage. Only the most elite hunters dare pursue them, and their death can cement a predator's reputation as a master of the hunt. Some EU stories feature Predalien queens commanding xenomorph hives, demonstrating strategic thinking and leadership. Their very existence represents a cautionary tale, the combination of different apex species producing horrors that even the predators must respect. Necromorph. The Necromorph, designated Project Omega, is a pathogen-mutated xenomorph created on Jericho-3 and first depicted in the novel Alien Prototype, 2019. Unlike typical drones, the Necromorph bore a corpse-like appearance, mottled gray-green hide, ruptured lesions, and bulbous pustules. Ironically, its necrotic tissue acted as armor, absorbing bullets that would cripple normal xenomorphs. Spawned from human host Hassan Bagrov, who carried a flesh-eating necrosis virus, the chestburster inherited the infection during gestation. The resulting adult retained the standard drone form, but was bulkier and carried a horrific adaptation, viral necrosis projection. By extending its inner jaw, the necromorph could exhale a black pathogen cloud, infecting victims within seconds. Those exposed quickly developed boils and organ failure, with death striking in minutes or hours. Uniquely, the creature could regulate its virulence, sometimes killing outright, other times preserving victims as incubators for facehuggers. The necromorph also exhibited egg-morphing abilities, converting captives into ovos, each carrying the necrotic strain. Left unchecked, it could have spawned an entire hive of diseased xenomorphs. However, its existence was unstable. Driven by agony, torn between host-harvesting instincts and the pathogen's drive to kill. Its rampage ended when Zula Hendricks and android Davis 1 destroyed it with explosives. Still, the necromorph remains one of the most dangerous and grotesque experiments in the expanded universe, a diseased monster capable of merging xenomorph biology with viral contagion. Infected predator, black goo mutation. The engineer's black goo, introduced in the Prometheus universe, crosses paths with Yautja biology in the Fire and Stone Aliens vs. Predator comics. Exposure to this accelerant pathogen creates infected predators, hulking, grotesque mutations that lose all sense of honor and reason. Transformed into a mindless killing machine, one of these mutated Yautja grows larger, even sprouting extra limbs in some material, and becomes nearly unstoppable. It attacks indiscriminately, even turning on allied predators, illustrating the horrifying consequences of uncontrolled bioengineering. Within Yautja culture, such mutants are often called husks, signifying that they are stripped of their identity, honor, and intelligence. These creatures highlight the Yautja obsession with genetic purity and the perils of tampering with nature. Alpha. A horned hybrid xenomorph, Alpha first appeared in Marvel's Alien Bloodlines, 2021, and represents one of the franchise's most striking genetic anomalies. Bred from both human and Corcoran Highland goat DNA, it was surgically extracted as a chestburster from Gabriel Cruz in 2180 and raised in captivity on Epsilon Station, Weyland-Yutani's first live specimen. Physically, the Alpha resembled a Praetorian in size and stature, but its most distinctive feature was a massive curved head crest, arcing like a ram's horns. This imposing silhouette, combined with enhanced bulk and resilience, made it a fearsome apex predator. It survived sustained gunfire, tore synthetics apart with ease, and even endured brief exposure to the vacuum of space. In the Epsilon outbreak, the Alpha assumed leadership of a brood of xenomorphs, displaying unusual aggression and purpose. Unlike ordinary drones, it prioritized protecting a developing queen embryo implanted in Cruz's son Danny, hinting at rudimentary hive instincts. Its horned head also doubled as a brutal melee weapon, used to gore and batter opponents. Despite its strength, the Alpha was not invincible. In a climactic battle, Cruz sacrificed himself by luring it onto an escape craft and detonating grenades, sending both man and monster into space. The Alpha perished burning up on re-entry, cementing its place as Marvel Canon's first new breed xenomorph, an apex specimen born of corporate hubris and genetic accident. White hybrid, 3-species splice. These are among the most extreme and imaginative Yautja-related experiments. In Aliens vs. Predator, Deadliest of the Species, a rogue AI named Toy creates monsters combining Xenomorph, Yautja, and human DNA. The apex of this experimentation is the White Hybrid King, a pale, hulking creature with predator mandibles, xenomorph tails and limbs, and human-like intelligence. Unlike other hybrids, the White Hybrid King demonstrates cunning, the ability to communicate, and the capability to propagate itself by offering facehugger-like embryos to potential allies. Its intelligence sets it apart from standard Predaliens or Xenomorphs. However, its ambitions are violently curtailed. An alien queen defeats it, and the remaining white hybrids are annihilated. Icarus strain. The Icarus strain refers to a population of selectively bred xenomorphs created through Weyland-Yutani's Project Icarus on the colony Tobler 9, first appearing in Marvel's Alien Icarus Arc, 2022. Unlike hybrids with obvious mutations, these aliens looked almost identical to standard drones and warriors: black exoskeletons, biomechanical ridges, and sinewy forms. Subtle distinctions, however, included slightly more humanoid posture, expressive body language, and, in some depictions, cruelly intelligent expressions. The real difference lay in behavior. By splicing human DNA into multiple generations of hosts, the company bred xenomorphs with heightened intelligence and disturbingly human traits: patience, cunning, and sadism. Survivors described them as a shade cleverer, more patient, cruel. They toyed with prey, staged psychological traps, and seemed to revel in fear. One colony report recalled an alien deliberately leaving a child's shoe as bait. Their pack tactics included feints, retreats, and coordinated ambushes. Ironically, their human qualities also became flaws. Instead of killing swiftly, Icarus xenomorphs sometimes played with victims, giving opportunities for resistance. They remained physically vulnerable to conventional weapons and displayed hints of intra-hive conflict. The strain's hive persisted for over a decade after containment collapsed, until Marines and synthetics triggered a reactor detonation that annihilated Tobler 9. Symbolically named for humanity's arrogance, the Icarus strain embodied Weyland-Yutani's hubris. In trying to perfect the species, they created aliens that reflected humanity's worst instincts. Four-armed predator. In Predators Preserve the Game, a rare four-armed Yautja appears as a formidable anomaly. This predator possesses an extra set of arms, increased musculature, and enhanced physical strength. Though deadly in combat, it lacks the intelligence of standard Yautja, suggesting that its creation may have been the result of genetic experimentation or punishment-based exile. The four-armed variant charges with raw power, wielding multiple melee weapons simultaneously. Humans Royce and Isabel survive through cunning and resourcefulness, illustrating that raw strength alone does not guarantee dominance. Moving on to the pathogen-altered xenomorphs. The pathogen xenomorphs of LV-895 represent one of the most grotesque deviations in the alien life cycle. Unlike lab-created aberrations such as Monica or Seven, these creatures arose organically when the engineer's black goo seeped into the jungles and ruins of the moon, corrupting local fauna, flora, and even dormant xenomorph eggs. The result was a breakaway hive of mutants introduced in Alien's Fireteam Elite. Pathogen, 2022. Visually, all share a bleached bone-white exoskeleton mottled with gray. Their hides lack the dark gloss of normal xenomorphs, instead evoking the pallor of corpses. Disturbingly, many lack the iconic inner jaw, replaced with mandibles or spider-like fangs, as though spliced with other life forms. The pathogen also eroded their hive instincts. They attack indiscriminately, often clashing with untainted xenos. Several distinct castes emerged. Pathogen runners are pale, hairless drones with ridged spines instead of dorsal tubes, charging recklessly into combat. Pathogen stalkers, descended from a local predator, the Leon 895, resemble six-legged panther spiders capable of chameleon-like camouflage. Pathogen blights echo spitters, lurking to spray acidic projectiles from their arachnid-like jaws. Pathogen brutes are hulking melee beasts with forearms warped into club-like weapons, battering Marines with raw strength. At the apex stands the pathogen queen, a mutant matriarch stripped of her ovipositor. Her head crest is jagged, her mouth split into four mandibles like a Neomorph's, and she wields a unique ranged ability, launching quills or spines from her body. Behaviorally, the hive resembled a feral ecosystem more than a coordinated colony. Marines discovered caverns littered with the corpses of black and white xenos alike, evidence of civil war. Without true pheromonal coordination, the mutants fought under the queen's brute dominance rather than a structured hierarchy. They swarmed in suicidal waves, their shrieks and pale hides betraying any chance of stealth. This chaotic nature was also their primary weakness. They lacked the cunning of standard xenomorphs, telegraphing attacks and often sacrificing strategy for ferocity. Their pallid bodies made them easier to spot, and their genetic instability left them prone to collapse without their queen. Indeed, after Marines killed the pathogen queen within the ancient engineer ruins, reports noted that the remaining mutants quickly dwindled, leaving unaltered xenos to re-establish dominance on LV-895. The pathogen xenomorphs endure in lore as nightmarish zombie analogs, undead cousins of the species, pallid and frenzied. They demonstrate the black goo's true horror, not simply enhancing, but warping life into chaotic monstrosities that destroy even their own kind. Upgrade Predator, Ultimate Hunter. In The Predator, 2018, Yautja tech and genetic science converged to produce the Upgrade Predator, a towering, genetically enhanced hunter. Spliced with DNA from other apex species, it possesses nearly impenetrable skin, heightened senses, and adaptive camouflage that does not require traditional cloaking devices. Unlike classic predators who earn improvements through trial, skill, and combat experience, the upgrade predator represents artificial evolution. It is effectively a living weapon, deployed to eliminate rogue predators and assert dominance. Despite its immense power, the upgrade predator is ultimately defeated by human intervention. The existence of genetically modified hunters sparks tension within Yautja society. Traditionalists may regard these beings as bad bloods or dishonorable, as their enhancements bypass the natural trial and error of the hunt. Cross-ecosystem hybrids and other EU variants. The alien life cycle is endlessly adaptable, thanks to its infamous DNA reflex that allows xenomorphs to incorporate traits from their hosts. While human-spawned drones remain the most familiar, the wider expanded universe showcases bizarre hybrids born from local fauna, selective breeding, or experimental tampering. These variants highlight the terrifying range of forms the species can assume. On Eurydice, the hive ran out of human hosts during the Alien revival arc. Desperate facehuggers latched onto small subterranean mammals known as tubers, producing diminutive burrowing xenomorphs. These tuber aliens were dog-sized, pale, and likely eyeless, adapted to life underground. They could tunnel rapidly, ambushing colonists by erupting from beneath the soil. Too weak to challenge armed humans directly, they hunted in packs, swarming victims and driving survivors from hiding. Limited to subterranean environments, they served more as hive hounds than true warriors. On the frozen moon Cosido, facehuggers infected the native winterbeast, a white-furred, arachnid-like predator. The resulting winterbeast xenomorph, nicknamed the submorph, emerged as a horned, tusked albino variant suited to Arctic conditions. Alien Thaw, 2022. With natural camouflage in snow and thick, heat-preserving armor, it survived for decades after the colony's collapse, attacking researchers who disturbed its hibernation. Solitary and feral, it fought with battering horns and tusks, but fell to concentrated fire. Fugitive Predator, Yautja-human hybrid. Also featured in The Predator, 2018, the fugitive predator incorporates human DNA, resulting in subtle physiological and behavioral enhancements, perhaps a leaner build, slightly improved cognitive reasoning, or environmental adaptability. Unlike the upgrade, these changes do not compromise honor. The fugitive demonstrates restraint, sparing an unarmed biologist's life, and operates with a personal moral code aligned with classical Yautja values. The fugitive's mission to assist humans by gifting the predator killer suit represents a rare example of interspecies alliance. His actions show that hybridization can coexist with honor. The Queen Mother or Empress, first depicted in Aliens Female War, 1990, was an immense brood matriarch said to telepathically command all queens across worlds. Larger and more cunning than ordinary queens, she embodied the idea of a galactic hive mind. Though absent from modern canon, Marvel's mysterious Woman in the Dark echoes this archetype. Predator Killer Suit. The Predator Killer Suit is an advanced exoskeleton designed by Yautja technology for human use. Gifted by the fugitive predator in 2018's The Predator, the suit allows a human to access predator-level abilities, shoulder-mounted plasma casters, wrist blades, targeting systems, and likely adaptive camouflage. Within lore, the suit represents a momentous gesture, a predator entrusting a human with its technology to combat rogue hunters. It symbolizes honor and cooperation, demonstrating that capability and courage can transcend species boundaries. While experimental and imperfect, the suit effectively gives a human predator capabilities in combat. Other one-offs include Dark Horse's infamous Rogue Alien, 1993, often called a king. Engineered as a male counterpart to a queen, it was larger, resistant to pheromones, and capable of killing its royal counterpart. However, it lacked reproductive function, existing purely as a weapon before perishing in a lab disaster. Human allies, Honorary Yautja. On rare occasions, humans earn full recognition from predators. Machiko Noguchi from the Aliens vs. Predator comics survived a xenomorph outbreak alongside a predator and was formally blooded, given the Yautja name Dadtudi, and integrated into the clan. She trained, hunted, and participated fully in predator society, navigating both cultural challenges and interpersonal skepticism. Alexa Woods, Lex from AVP 2004, received a similar honor. After assisting in the defeat of a xenomorph queen, she was marked with the clan symbol, an acknowledgement of courage and skill. These cases highlight that honor can transcend biology. Humans, typically prey, may earn respect and even status as honorary Yautja. Finally, the Ultramorph, a concept from unused Prometheus drafts, envisioned a colossal alien spawned from an engineer host. Pale, Towering over drones and even queens, it appeared only in RPGs, novels, and artwork, yet continues to capture fan imagination as the species' ultimate form. Together, these cross-ecosystem hybrids and speculative rulers reveal the alien's greatest terror, not merely what it is, but what it might become when unleashed upon the wider galaxy. The hunt evolves. From sucklings observing their first kills to ancient elders guiding generations, from rogue bad bloods to genetically enhanced hybrids, Yautja society is diverse and lethal. Strength, honor, and survival define rank and reputation, yet mutation, evolution, and ambition continuously reshape the hierarchy. The hunt remains the ultimate measure of worth. Young bloods sharpen blades, elders weigh experience and strategy, bad bloods stalk their enemies, and hybrids test the limits of species and society. And somewhere in the stars, the next hunt waits, poised to redefine what it means to be a predator. We touched on FX's Alien Earth earlier in the video when dissecting the dissection of the Facehugger, so let's get into the rest of what we've seen in Prodigy City. And we've seen a lot already. Let's start with the traditional. At the heart of FX's new series is a classic warrior-type alien, introduced early on in the pilot episode, aboard the Weyland-Yutani freighter Maginot. This version is faithful to the relentless hunter we know, powerful and glistening black, with inner jaw and acidic blood. Its presence brings the full terror of the alien mythos to Earth, specifically Prodigy City, for the first time. Its horrifying capabilities have been on full display during the show's first season, claiming many lives. The crashed USCSS Maginot was a Weyland-Yutani vessel, and it had at least 4 other alien lifeforms on it that are new to the alien universe. Some of these might not technically belong in a video about xenomorph types, as they're not variants of the XX121 species. But they are all aliens, and many have physical, behavioral, and reproductive traits in common with the xenomorph. Teocellus, octopus eye, or species 64. Perhaps the most unsettling of the Maginot specimens, Teocellus resembles a floating eyeball surrounded by tentacles. Like the facehugger, its primary adaptation is parasitic. Unlike the facehugger, which implants an embryo, Teocellus exerts its influence by first invading its victim's eye socket, before using its tendrils to hijack its new host's nervous system, allowing the creature to override motor function and effectively puppet the victim. The host remains conscious yet powerless, a fate arguably worse than death. Seen prominently in the second episode of Alien Earth, this creature has the ability to invade both humans and, shockingly and memorably, cats. It also has strength far beyond that of equivalent creatures its size, and it can propel itself great distances very quickly. The way it scuttles recalls The Thing, weaponizing movement as much as gore. The eye monster subsequently gets a starring role in the 4th and 5th episodes, as we see the team at Prodigy Corporation experimenting with it and an unfortunate sheep. We witness exactly how the creature can overpower its hosts and then control the host body. The Kirsch character remarks upon how intelligent and observant it is as it follows his movement across the room. In episode 5 aboard the Maginot, it not only contributes to the lab meltdown, but it takes a human as its host and even attacks the Xenomorph as in both host, crew member Shmuel, and in its normal eye plus multi-tentacle form. The starring role continues for Teocellus through to the end of the season within the unfortunate test subject Sheep, and we get the sense that its role will continue to grow as its intelligence within its different hosts shines through. As Boy Cavalier finds out to his delight, this creature even knows the number pi to numerous decimal places. It even knows what a number 2 is. D. plumbicare, the orchid. A plant-like organism resembling a monstrous flower, D. plumbicare is deceptive in appearance with large petals concealing its likely predatory anatomy. When disturbed, the orchid unfurls and extends a whip-like appendage capable of lethal strikes. Much larger than any earthbound equivalent like a Venus flytrap. The synth Kirsch, played by Timothy Oliphant, observes, "It presents as flora, but it may be fauna." Blood bugs. These are blood-sucking insectoids, parasites that look like weaponized bedbugs crossed with ticks. They creep onto victims almost unnoticed, clamp down at the neck, and siphon blood with shocking efficiency. As they feed, their abdomens balloon until they're little more than wobbling sacks of stolen life. The aftermath is worse than the attack, bodies left dry and mummified, as if the person has been turned into a human juice box. Its parasitism is spectacle, slow and clinical enough to make you check your own skin. The fly. Last but not least from Alien Earth. The fly is exactly what it sounds like, except it is massive. About the size of a hybrid's forearm, in fact, as we see when the creature begins the Neverland Island chaos by attacking Toodles. The fly sprays acidic fluid from a hose-like protrusion within its mouth. We later see 2 of the flies feeding on the dead hybrid Toodles, using the same tube that sprayed the deadly fluid. The flies nest or cocoon up high in the lab, and are, like the other specimens in the Neverland Research Facility, keen to find their way out of captivity. Hidden until the sixth episode of the series, the Fly made a spectacularly brutal and heartbreaking entrance. Together, these new creatures don't just add shock value, they broaden the franchise's biology into a coherent nightmare. Each organism is terrifying on its own, but in concert they feel like a designed gauntlet. Different traps for different flaws, forcing humans into a losing game where courage, composure, and even identity can be used against them. No doubt we will learn more about these creatures. Now that brings us up to date with the Xenomorphs introduced in this wondrous and terrifying world. Let us know your thoughts on the video in the comments, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on the videos we have coming up on the Alien franchise and other worlds too.